Block
Oh,
Nation.
I was bumping to that music tonight. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was bumping to that tonight. Go, Bobby.
The whole intro, as we do when we bring guests in, you can see what's happening in the screens down in the waiting room. And I see Sarah just going full like emo mode, like blasting all kinds of music down there. She's pumping her fists. She's bumping her head up and down, and she's ready to roll right now, as are, I'm sure, a lot of you on this Saturday evening. Welcome inside the vault for a post-game live stream. It is the 21st of December, and Sarah, the Ravens are postseason bound, and they got more work to do, and I get the sense that their sights are continuing to be set here because the AFC North is up for grabs. They put a thumping on the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight inside the bank. 34-17 was the final. For those of you who said, that spread, it should be more like double digits. I know a lot of you were very confident coming into this one, and I'm sure you're feeling vindicated coming off this week 16 performance. The Ravens now are 10-5, as are the Pittsburgh Steelers, Sarah. So you went out, and now we kind of turn a page quickly. We won't yet, but the Ravens will, because Houston looms on Christmas night. Tonight is brought to you by our friends at GEHA. That's Government Employees Health Association. More on them in the show notes, and also as a pinned comment in the live chat. Partner, they got it done in a variety of ways tonight. Lamar gets the monkey off his back. Zach Orr's defense forces 2 significant turnovers that were cashed in for 14 points. They gashed the Steelers on the ground, led by King Henry, and a lot in between as well, which we're going to get into.
Bobby, the Ravens clearly heard all the talk. Lamar Jackson hears that he's 1-4 against the Steelers. The Ravens hear that they've lost 8 of the last 9. John Harbaugh hears that Mike Tomlin has his number. The defense hears that they've been playing like doo-doo, and that if anything, they'll be the unit that hurts the entire team and stops their chances of winning a Super Bowl. Justin Tucker has heard all the talk, and we understand that talk. And he comes back. I mean, the Ravens were amped for this game. They were ready for it. Mike Tomlin came in. He tried to come in and be like, yo, I'm the bully. You guys try to be the bullies tonight. We're going to be the bullies. We're going to be aggressive. He goes for it on 4th and 6 and dares Kyle Hamilton to stop him. And he does. And they take their shots. They get a couple. But by and far, Bobby, the Ravens just finally put up a complete game, maybe since the week 4 Bills game. At times, it sure does seem like they play down to their competition, a.k.a. Raiders, a.k.a. Browns. But then you get somebody like the Bills, and then you get the Steelers. They come to your home. The AFC North division is on the line. Playoff seeding is on the line. The Ravens clinch it, and they just heard all that talk, channeled it, and snatched the souls of the Steelers, because that AFC North crown that they wanted to lock up today, it is now wide open.
The super chats are flying in. Yo Jitsu says, let's go Ravens, let's go Flock. Merry Christmas. Same to you, Yo Jitsu. Megalodin says, where's Nick right at? Never been so hyped to hear. Sarah, Alex, I'll let you take this one.
The most important thing about this game wasn't that we beat the Steelers. It wasn't that we clinched a playoff spot. It was how we responded, rallied, and overcame adversity on our own errors. Go flock. Lamar Jackson talks about that, how they stayed calm all the time whenever they had a stop. When he had that interception, they just always stayed calm, and they always had an answer.
Well written, Alex. Hybrid Theory writes, let's not insult each other just because we have a difference of opinions. Thank you for the 20 super chat there. Dustin, Sarah.
Just win, baby.
And Robbie.
In Tuck we trust. #vault.
Captain Hard writes, came as guest, left as servants, told them to make us a sandwich, potato chips, and a soda pop to quench our thirst, meaning quench Lamar MVP. An interception. Oh, okay. We'll get to that in a little bit. He's saying that he thinks the interception that Lamar threw was on Bateman. There was miscommunication. It looked like he was trying to find the soft spot of the zone. He stopped the route, and Lamar threw it right to a Pittsburgh Steeler. Minka Fitzpatrick will have more on that coming up in just a bit. Sarah Rodrigo.
Marlo, my favorite CB. Fun fact, I own 3 pairs of his used shoes.
Yeah. He gives them away on Instagram all the time. Like he'll put out, I've seen those posts so many times before, and I always wonder, Rodrigo, like, Do people hit him up on this? Apparently so.
He goes on and says, a nice Steelers spliff.
Oh, he's having himself a night over there. Okay, Rodrigo. Richard, who, of course, was at the Be More Around Town tailgate with me. I actually drove him from the tailgate to the stadium. So what's up, Richard? I dang near called it. What a game. And Sarah, Mike?
If Ravens beat Texans, they will have beaten all AFC playoff teams except KC in week 1.
Tony writes, my prediction was right. I said 24-18. That's actually wrong, Tony. It's 34-17. Okay, Tony, that was pretty close, my
Give
man.
him some love. Let's give him
pretty
some
close. On Bobby's show, let's see. My prediction was right. I said 34-18 on Bobby's show when he got beat up by Dave last night. Just kidding, Bobby. So, Sarah, David Cure came on the show and we debated Devontae Walker last night. And it was quite – we can get in more at the back end of this show. You're gonna find that to be highly entertaining, I think. Brandon?
The Marlowe pick six was definitely the game changer. The Steelers definitely had the momentum before that.
Hybrid, another one. Nick Wright has a super punchable face, and Jabari writes most satisfying win since the Titans wild card game.
Oh, geez.
That's a big one right there. Thank you guys for being here. Already over 2,000 of you joining us concurrently. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Ravens content, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping said daily Ravens live content. The Ravens handed Pittsburgh its worst loss in this series since 2019, as Jonas tweeted out. Woo! And according to Upshot, at Upshot NYT on X, the Ravens are now the favorites to win the AFC North, Sarah. So, yeah, we'll get to the Texans-Chiefs game in a little bit because Houston will be undermanned after losing Tank Dell to a serious knee injury. If you guys caught that game before kickoff today. But most importantly, Sarah, they are in the dance. They have a clinched. They will absolutely have a shot at this year's Super Bowl.
They are going to have that shot. It most likely will be wild card, but will they be able to host? That'll be determined in the next 2 games. And the other big news, as we kind of listen, I said it was a complete game, right, Bobby? This was a complete Ravens win. So we want to break down what everybody did to contribute. I thought Lamar was going to have to put on his Superman cape, but instead the whole team rallied around Lamar, and Lamar in week 16 broke the Ravens single season franchise record in touchdown passes.
Wow.
He's now got 37 touchdown passes, breaking his own record, his own MVP year in 2019. Lamar talking to Erin Andrews on the broadcast after the game. She asked him, I mean, this has got to feel good, right? And he tries to keep it low key, but then admitted something. He said, any win feels good, but especially against a rival like this, I got the little monkey off my back for now. I like how he put for now, because he knows there's plenty of football to move on. This was one monkey. He was 1-4 against the Steelers, just one, but he's got more to do. But huge franchise record for Lamar Action Jackson.
Yeah, no doubt. And the fact that they're able to your point, right? Like, did Lamar have his moments tonight? Oh, there's no question. And we're going to try to cover every single one of those moments. But the fact that his defense stood tall right after an interception. By the way, they had 3 fumbles tonight, Sarah, as a group. What was it? 2 on offense and 1 on special teams, or 2 on special teams and 1 on offense?
2 on special teams, 1 on offense, when Stanley let Hightower get around him and he grabbed Lamar from behind as Lamar was hitting, putting his arm back, and then he got hit from behind. Yeah.
All three were recovered. I mean, this game could have been very, very different. And there were times in that opening quarter where you're thinking, man, this has got shades of week 11 written all over it, right? Like ball security issues, some early penalties. By the way, the most penalized team league-wide, and I'm sure we can get into this later on, was penalized just twice for 10 yards tonight. So that is certainly coming off a 12 penalty performance against the Giants, 8 of which were defensive. That is a great step. That's an encouraging step in the right direction. Remember, week 11 against Pittsburgh and last weekend in the Meadowlands, 12 times apiece.
so much more disciplined in terms of penalties, so much more. And the Steelers were trying to catch him a few times too. They were trying to draw him off. They just so completely disciplined. Like we said, just 2. We'll take the 2. Now, it's funny because we came into this, and Bobby, you and I were pounding the table on this all week. We said the key to this matchup is turnovers. Yep. The Ravens are very fortunate that they recovered all 3 of those turnovers. But what the thing is the game really was about turnovers, but this time the Ravens won that battle. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about Lamar's interception. When I tell you he was ticked, I'm telling you he was hot. So he goes into the press conference. The media is like, hey, this has got to be pretty gratifying, right? You got the monkey off your back. You beat a rival. You clinched the playoffs. And Lamar's like, yeah, it's good. He goes, but I feel like I could have played better. That interception really got me mad still. We don't turn the ball over. We win almost any game. That is 100% true with the talent on this team. That one turnover could have been the difference. But shout out to Marlowe and the defense because those guys played lights out all game. And then so they went on with the press conference, and Lamar kept bringing up his own pick. Yeah. He confirmed that it was a miscommunication between him and Bateman. And then he said, after that, he goes, I was mad until the game was over. No, I'm lying. I'm still mad. The game is over, and I'm still hot. So I'm glad that he takes it seriously. It was only his 4th interception of the season. His first where it didn't hit one of his targets in their hands, but this one was just a miscommunication. I don't know who it's on. Lamar was throwing it as if Bateman was going to keep running a slant. Bateman stopped as if he was in a zone and found a soft spot just on 2 different pages. It happens, but he takes that seriously and would not let it go in the post-game press conference.
And what a wild turn of events, as you summarized really well on X, right? Yeah. In a span of 4 plays, utter chaos took place. Derrick Henry goes on one of his vintage 44-yard bursts where he's just running right through Pittsburgh He's running over Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's a rumble tumble Chris Berman type call, right? Like it was just it's generational stuff from Derrick. We'll get to him in just a bit. This NFL rushing title this year after tonight, assuming that Saquon, and I should not assume this whatsoever, but if he were to have an average day tomorrow, the next 2 weeks are going to become really, really interesting. There was 214 rushing yards that separated Saquon and Derrick entering today. Well, Derrick went for 162, so that could get interesting. But that 4-play span begins that way. Then you're in the red zone, right? It's like, oh, these guys are going to punch it in. These guys are the number 1 ranked red zone offense. Lamar throws the pick, right? And then Najee goes for 3 yards for Pittsburgh. And then Russell Wilson, on a great read from Marlon Humphrey, intercepts and jumps the route, takes it in for 6. And you're just thinking, like, you talk about heart rate, you talk about in-game anxiety as a fan. What a turn of events. The Ravens withstood a little bit of adversity. And as we discussed off the top of the show, it didn't have to be Lamar all the time. The defense came up big. That's what's most notable about this. The monkey's off the back, but Marlon was helping yank that monkey off Lamar's back. And as you see here, and by the way, Jeff just tweeted out something hilarious about this play. He said that Marlon says he was taunting he says Marlon says he was not taunting a Steeler on the way into the end zone here when he turned around, as you see here.
What was he doing then?
He said he wanted to pitch it to David Ajabo, but decided that Ajabo wasn't running fast enough. And then the way Jeff finished this tweet is the best. He goes, normally I'd say Humphrey's just trying to avoid a fine, but with him, who knows?
Oh, it's funny because the way the setup is in my house when we watch the games is I'm here at my computer so I can be typing and tweeting and taking notes and getting our slides ready and all that. And my family is right outside in the living room. And my daughter comes in. She's a 12-year-old. She goes, Mommy, that touchdown was insane. Did you see that? And I was like, oh, I saw it. Did you not hear me screaming from in here? And she goes, Daddy didn't like it. And I was like, why is that? And she goes, oh, because Dad says that he was taunting the other player and that's poor sportsmanship. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
Well,
we'll have to go back and revisit this because apparently he was being unselfish and trying to give it to, who is it? David Ajabo, he said?
That's what Jeff said that Marlon said post game.
Throws Ajabo under the bus by saying he wasn't running fast enough.
Make sure your kids follow up with Trevor. All right, come on now.
You can't, I will follow up, but you can't make this stuff up with Marlo. Here's what else, and I didn't know this until tonight. John Harbaugh revealed that Marlon Humphrey had a baby this week. He had a baby, which is crazy because, Bobby, I don't think usually on their injury reports, if people are missing, they'll put on there, NIR, not injury related. And then if somebody had asked, they would have said, oh, he had a baby. like he didn't miss a practice. So hopefully his girl's doing all right. But John Harbaugh gave Marlo a game ball. And then he goes, no, wait, I didn't give it to Marlo. I gave it to his son. I gave it to his new baby son. So what a week. And what's crazy is that play happened a little bit after Marlon had to get the attention of the referees because he had something going on with his eye. I don't know if he was missing a contact. I know those things about. It happens to me frequently. Well, not frequently, but it's happened to me. And it's I remember a contact fell out of my eye in the middle of a basketball game. And I was like, should I keep going or should I pick it up? And I picked it up, by the way, if in case you were wondering. But like, what a massive turn of events. I don't know that the Ravens would have lost the game. I mean, they were about to go up big. They were right inside the red zone. So I think the defense could have had a stop even without the pick six. But I mean, that sucked all the air out of the Steelers at that point, where it was like they thought they had got life. And then Marlo came in and yanked the spirit of hope, the spirit of life, the spirit of optimism. He yanked it right out of their souls and said, nah, we're not doing this. This game ends right now.
Make no mistake about it. Marlon Humphrey, that was a shot in the arm. And this entire season has been a shot in the arm for the resurgence of his career after what we know was an underwhelming season for him a year ago, both statistically and availability-wise. He now leads the AFC, Sarah, with 6 picks this year. That was the first defensive touchdown of the season for Baltimore. It's the first pick 6 of Marlon's career, and he's been around since, 2017?
It's been a minute.
He had 2 fumble return touchdowns in 2019. So Marlon is back. This was clearly a game-changing play, as was Darius Washington's. So he had 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half. And this one in the first, Sarah, dare I say, just as important, if not more important, than Marlon's pick 6. Because the Steelers were driving, and they were rolling down the field. And 36-year-old Russell Wilson at times, Sarah, throughout that drive, looked like 26-year-old Russell Wilson with the way that he was scrambling, with the way that he was evading defenders, with the way that he was hooking up with Calvin Austin through the air, right across the middle with his tight ends. At one point, you had a drive that was put together with a bunch of guys that if you had a bingo card, certainly were not on that pregame. We're talking about Ben Skoranek, Van Jefferson, Jalen Warren, Connor Hayward, Mycole Pruitt. Like, you're thinking to yourself, wait, it would have been Freiermuth. It would have been, maybe Calvin Austin would have been involved there. Like, you wouldn't have thought that those guys would have been playmakers for Russ. So you got to give him credit. But Darius Washington, Sarah, at 5'8", $180, one of the most undersized players league-wide. The recent adjustment on the back end with his running mate Kyle Hamilton, with the interception last week to help seal it. Not that it needed to be sealed, but clearly a great play against the Giants. Darius plays with this constant relentlessness. He's got a knack for the football. He's got that undrafted pride that oozes from him, and a big-time forced fumble on Russell Wilson that was recovered by Kyle Van Noy, an early momentum shift that aided the Ravens.
It was a 14-point swing in the game. That was massive because, the Steelers, that I think would have tied the game up at that point. And Russell Wilson, as a veteran, probably should have known to slide, right? And didn't. He wanted to go for it all. He wanted to be the hero. But Darius Washington defies logic to me because he is the smallest dude out there and he can lay a hit. He will put a shoulder into you and make you pay. And that's what he did to Russell Wilson right there. So I agree with you. It's hard to say which one had a bigger impact. You're right. This one might've been it, because they were there. And after this, the Ravens go 96 yards and scored the other way. That's why it was a 14-point swing. So between Marlon Humphrey, Ardarius Washington, then let's just give a shout out right now to Kyle Hamilton, because Tomlin got very aggressive, dare I say, desperate in the third quarter. When it's 4th and 6 and you got a whole quarter still to play, and he went for it, and they went for it big. It wasn't like, let me just try to get the 6. We're going all the way for this touchdown.
Yep.
And Kyle Hamilton wasn't having it. Had a huge pass breakup. Almost could have had the interception, but got hit. And I want to say this too about Kyle Hamilton, because we've already heard Marlon Humphrey say that the biggest difference on defense in the turnaround was because Kyle Hamilton took over the play calling duties, at least for the secondary, the back end. Well, Erin Andrews, in the middle, I think, of the second quarter, they're talking about the Ravens defensive turnaround, and she reveals this conversation that she has with Roquan Smith. And Roquan was like, yeah, like, Kyle's been huge. She goes, I had to get everybody in place. Like, I was getting the play call in from Zach Orr. Then I'm trying to get the linebackers in the right spot. I'm trying to get the defensive line in the right spot. And then I was trying to get the secondary in the right spot. And he was like, it was way too much on my plate. Like, the way she relayed it, I'm going to go back and find it, and I'll play the audio tomorrow. The way she relayed it just made it sound like Roquan just felt like he had the weight of the world and he wanted to do it, but it was just like way too much. And so between Tom Brady and Erin Andrews and everybody, they just kept emphasizing how Kyle Hamilton is the biggest part of this defensive turnaround. And it really is mind-boggling where we have been and where they were today when the game was on the line, and how many huge plays this unit came up with. What a massive turnaround.
Yeah, Kyle's just continuously comes across as the top standout player on the field. And you just hear guys around the league, whether it's Brady in game, whether it's John Gruden in the days leading up to the game, just constantly they're just baffled in the best of ways by the impact that he has on the field. Tonight's episode is brought to you by our friends at GEHA. That is our exclusive post-game show title sponsor. They've been with us all year long, and they're going to be with us down the stretch as the Ravens scratch and claw for this AFC North title. And they have a message for the Ravens flock. Of course, it's been another amazing year for the city of Baltimore, and your favorite team continues their winning season. GEHA continues to be a proud partner of the Baltimore Ravens for over 87 years. Government Employees Health Association has offered health and dental benefits that are designed to meet the unique needs of federal employees and retirees, military retirees, and their families. And with over 2 million members and growing, GEHA continues to serve those members and families who serve all of us every single day. Government Employees Health Association. Your health is not our business. It's our purpose. You can learn more by visiting GEHA.com/RavensVault. And if you go to our show notes or the pinned comment that's chilling in the live chat right now, it'll take you to their landing page, which is our specific unique URL. And you can check out what's going on at GEHA. It would help us out a lot. It's super easy to navigate the process, navigate the website. And again, all that information can be found in the show notes below. A special thanks to the folks and Shelly and all the great people that we've been working with all year long as the holiday season approaches. Happy holidays to you and yours. And continued gratitude to GEHA for being with us all season long here in post-game format. Sarah, should we rip through some super chats?
Let's do it.
Black One Rob says, do y'all think Keaton Mitchell should have gotten some touches after Hill went down? Keaton was inactive for another week, so Rasheen Ali assumed the duties of RB3. Got a couple carries, didn't he? What did he finish with? Let's see. Rasheen, 1 for 2. 1 for 2. Justice Hill, of course, leaves with a concussion, and that's a tough one because it's a short week, Sarah, and you got to wonder if he's going to be able to clear protocol. That was a quick declared out ruling. I mean, they immediately ruled him out. It was a scary collision there with the ground on the left-hand sideline. Justice picked up a big game. It was a gain of 25. He finished with just 2 carries for 30 yards. And obviously that was tough to see. We know how valuable he is to this team, not only as a running back, but somebody who's in the screen game, a pass catcher, a blitz pickup, or a special team gunner, right? So best wishes for him.
So John Harbaugh in the the post-game press conference did not sound very optimistic that
Yeah.
he would be cleared in 4 days. That being said, to Black One Rob's point, while Keaton Mitchell couldn't get any snaps today because he was inactive, if Justice Hill can't go, Keaton Mitchell will 100% be active, and he will step right in and get plenty of touches as long as that knee is doing fine. But the Ravens are in a very fortunate position to have depth at running back at this point of the season when, December, January, you got to pack a running game. So Keaton Mitchell can definitely step in, and hopefully Justice Hill will get his head cleared up. And whether it's against the Texans or the next week against the Browns, I'm sure he'll be a big part of this postseason run.
Down Serbia was wondering as well, where did Keaton Mitchell go? He was just inactive today. Thanks for the super chat. Sarah, take Bam Stanton's.
First super chat, but super proud of our defense. Lamar is the GOAT. Thanks for the super chat.
Appreciate it. Not a fan. About to be in Cancun mode. I'm on a plane to Cancun with my family for Christmas vacation. Nice. A little intoxicated. I don't give a pee about nothing but the flock. Love you all in the chat. Love you all, Bobby and Sarah. LFG. Not a fan. We appreciate you.
Love you too.
They were an homage giveaway winner, right?
Not
at one point. Yeah, I believe so.
I can't remember.
Well,
there's been so many.
Oh, I'll let you take this one from
homage.
None of your beeswax. Take this one.
Bobby wearing that gold shirt paid off. That ugly gold shirt paid off. See, this is what we got to do. We got to continue wearing the opponent's colors because it's working for us. I did it with, wait, what color of mouthpiece did Lamar have today? Hold up. No, just clear.
Jack Lum writes, John Harbaugh is a top 3 head coach, calling his shot and calling a lot of you out while doing so. Deshaun, Sarah.
150 off that Marlin interception. Flock Nation, let's go. Congrats, Deshaun.
Hey, there we go. Mark Tip writes, what better way to clinch than by beating Pittsburgh? Big Truz, let's go Ravens. Captain Hard, partner.
Listen, that just reminds me. My basketball co-coach for one of my teams, he's a big Steelers fan. After that
you're gonna start
touchdown drive. Look what he sent me after that big touchdown drive by the Steelers. The one where Cordell Patterson caught it over Malik Harrison. Let's not
we'll get
allow
to that.
Let's not allow that matchup again. Anyway, he sends me all the towels, and I'm so busy on TweetDeck I didn't have time to reply. But I hope he enjoyed his little moment. Okay, I hope you enjoyed your little moment. We'll talk soon.
Well, I tell you what, I don't think anybody in this stream would be offended if you take 30 seconds so that text does not go unanswered. But I'll let you do what you want to do over there.
I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that. I hope
Captain
you enjoyed your little moment. Okay, go ahead.
There it is. Get after him. Captain Hard writes, I don't think we understand how important Lamar and the Ravens needed this game, and Lamar had to play good for his mental. Derrick Henry is the king. RVA Raven fan, Sarah.
Let's roll, boys. That doesn't sound right when it's coming out of my
Perfect.
mouth. Let's roll, boys. That's better. Great team win, but remember this is just one more stepping stone. We are getting healthy as other teams are losing players, although the Chiefs are getting some back. If the Ravens continue playing like this, Lord help the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, Marquise Brown made his debut as a Chief today. We will get to that in the quick hits before we finish up. Dustin writes, shout out to Lamar for being the only quarterback to have 37 touchdowns and 4 picks in the first 15 weeks of a season in history. That's 16 weeks. 1 of 1 MVP. Appreciate it, Dustin. And Sarah Aiden Brennan.
That is now 5 straight games conceding less than 25 points. It's far from perfect, but the defense is holding up just enough to give Lamar and Derrick the chance to go win games. Playoffs, here we come.
Dave won to cycle, a.k.a. David Cure. Whoop that squealer arse. David, congratulations on the win. Was Devontae Walker involved in tonight? I love you, David.
I didn't really see him.
Justice Greer, Sarah.
First of all, I just want to say, I know that in real life you say arse the correct way. It's got to feel funny to you that you edit yourself like I do it naturally, but I appreciate you.
Well, you know what's really funny? You know what's funny is Bobby After Dark is what people are referring to me when I'm out on my own, when I'm doing my live stream on the Bobby Baltimore side of things. And Lauren Wunderlich, who's a patron of ours, dropped in a super chat within the last few days and said exactly that. And I was like, hey, get you a partner that can do both.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to do both because I love this partnership and I enjoy my time on my own as well. So
And I do appreciate it. For the record, I've never asked you to do it. You just
Yes.
do it, which is very
Yes.
kind of you. Yeah.
Appreciate
And if you
that.
didn't do it, that would be okay because you're your own man. But I appreciate you. All right. Justice
Likewise.
says, hope Justice makes a good recovery. I think Keaton should get the start over Rasheen Ali versus the Texans if Justice isn't ready. What do y'all think? I think all three of them will be active.
Yep.
I think Rasheen Ali will still take special teams duties, but I think if Justice isn't ready, Keaton Mitchell will go right into number 2 running back behind Derrick Henry.
Agreed. Jemmy93 writes Lamar's 2-0 after his mom cussed him out. Interesting.
I saw somebody else note that the Ravens are 1-0 since Deontay Johnson got cut. So,
and we'll probably get to him in a little bit because Tom Brady did not mince words without actually having to reference Deontay's name. Matt Fowler, Sarah.
Bobby and Sarah, let me hear your best. Hallelujah. What a win. I think I just did a pretty good one.
Okay. That'll suffice. Tongsley writes, I love Sarah's tweets and posts. Great win. Great show. We all do. Consistency. DJ Bowflex, Sarah.
Yes, sir. Wait, how does Calais Campbell do it? Yes, sir.
I was going to say, he's got a deeper voice than us two combined. Anything that we get down to baritone
voice. I think
know?
you got it.
He's a beast. And by the way, who knows? Could he potentially join this team if the Dolphins don't make the postseason? Maybe, just maybe. You're definitely taking this one from OG Pearled.
Woo-wee, dummy. Great win. Excited for January Truz.
Book it. Gerald Jackson writes, guys are starting to make plays. We're relatively healthy and we're getting hot right on time, I believe, and we are primed for a run. The bye, meaning the late bye, was perfect. Not a lot of folks were saying that a couple months ago, and I kind of agree with you, Gerald. It is setting up nicely for where the Ravens sit right now. Where the Ravens sit right now. Alex Panduro, Sarah.
Moving Hamilton to mainly safety is one of the best moves this season. That pass breakup was crazy. Go Ravens. 808 in the house.
Yeah, he's just an absolute beast. Jemmy93 writes, hey, Flock, who else was excited to see that? Who else will be excited to see that next Hard Knocks on the game? What shifted after that fumble? And then Dagger from Marlowe, amazing statement win.
When does the Hard Knocks usually come out? I'm just wondering if Christmas week will ruin it. I wonder if they're going to get like 2 weeks of football in one episode.
Well, Ravens Wired Wednesday nights, Hard Knocks Tuesday nights.
Is Hard Knock Tuesday? So maybe we'll get that. Yeah. Well, I doubt Wired will come out this Wednesday. They'll probably push it until after the Houston game. But hopefully Hard Knocks still does its thing on Tuesday because I don't want to like get stuff cut out because they got to fit in the other games of Christmas Day. I need
Christmas Eve. That would be. So we have to check the schedule to see what they got going on. But
we're working Christmas Eve.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. Thor, Sarah.
Day. Tom Brady called the Ravens a sleeping giant. He sure did. He did post game.
And let's just get to that real quick because I feel like it's going to get lost in the shuffle. So Tom Brady was praising Kyle Van Noy, who we're going to get to in just a bit. Career high, Sarah, 10.5 sacks off of last year's 9 sacks. His career has been resurrected. It's been so much fun to watch. But while doing so, he took a shot without actually mentioning the names of Deontay Johnson and Devondre Campbell.
Yeah, he did.
Because Kyle has played this year and played earlier on this year with a fractured orbital bone. And as Tom said, he essentially broke his face.
Yeah.
It was an eye-related issue that he had earlier on in the season. And he not so subtly took a shot at guys like Deontay and Devondre, who, when their numbers were called in recent weeks, did not answer the bell. And I love that from
There's
Tom.
no way Tom would have put up with that. He sends receivers back if they miss a catch, let alone if they don't go into a game. He would not. That would not be tolerated.
For sure.
Yeah.
Evan Burstein writes, Lamar's reaction to learning it was 89's first touchdown against Pittsburgh was priceless. Damn. And Sarah, before you play that, let me just do one quick thing and let it fly.
Mark Andrews.
He didn't?
Yeah, this was his first touchdown.
So 7 years, this is his first touchdown against him? Damn. I'm glad he got it done, with the victory. But damn.
Thanks, Lamar.
Appreciate you. Damn.
Genuinely shocked?
But he has not been listening to the vault because Bobby's been pounding the table here this last week about how the Steelers do everything they can to take Mark Andrews out of the game. They're like, Mark Andrews will not beat us. It's just Lamar and Mark. Well, this time around, a few other guys stepped up, including King Henry, everybody on defense, and Zay Flowers. and Bateman in the back of the end, the corner of the end zone. So
Which we will definitely get to Rashad because being
yeah.
that just 2 days ago he was seen with a walking boot on and then he's catching touchdowns 48 hours later. That's very encouraging. Good stuff, Evan. Sarah, Juicebox_J84.
A lot of Ravens got their wings tonight. Not PQ, though. A lot of Ravens. Yeah, a lot of Ravens. They're finally Ravens. Everybody that's on that squad is finally a Raven. It's been a minute since they won. A lot of guys weren't officially Ravens. PQ went over to the other side. I don't think PQ ever beat the Steelers when he was with the Ravens. Is that correct?
8 of the last 9. 2019 is when Lamar won it last. Yeah, no, he never beat him.
Okay. Well.
Rodrigo writes, now granted, he was a part of at least one. Yeah, so like last year, of course, he didn't have a chance to in the regular season finale. I think he was one of the starters that sat. Did he sit in that one? Regardless, they sat everybody in the regular season finale last year. But yes, he did not beat the Ravens.
Okay.
Excuse me, the Steelers. When a member of the Ravens. Rodrigo writes, what are the odds we see Pittsburgh again in the playoffs? Current play, they would be the current 3 seed at this moment.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No, Steelers are still the 3 seed.
Okay, so they'd be the 3 seed.
Yeah. Ravens are still the 5 seed.
Okay, so
and
not
Texans
right now.
Are the 4 seed. Yeah.
It'd be still 5-4 in Houston.
Yeah. I'll just say this. There's a chance that they don't see each other in the wild card round. And I'm not just saying this because the Ravens beat them tonight. And maybe if Pickens returns, they can change it. But they don't look like a playoff contender since they've been playing playoff caliber teams. And so it wouldn't shock me if they were one and done in the postseason.
Sure.
But
Dev James 25 writes, previously this team folded after negative plays against the Steelers. Great job by the guys for overcoming that mental hurdle. Darren Alexander just throwing us a super chat. We appreciate you. And Sarah Dustin with a $5.
Just when I thought Henry delivered his abilities from his hair, and he goes out and punches the Steelers in the mouth. Gotta love it. Obviously, he's referring to Derrick Henry getting that haircut during the bye week.
Stono31 says, Bobby, I know you got them Steelers rolled up in a cigar. Asmodeus gave me a cigar, and my guy Freddie today gave me 3 signature Ed Reeds. I am a happy pre-Christmas man right now, Sarah. That was a lot. I did not smoke any cigars today, but I will. Probably it's maybe Christmas Eve. My dad's not a cigar smoker. He's flying down here. Of course, I'm staying in Baltimore, Sarah, and then leaving the next day to go back upstate. It might be a little Christmas Eve. We'll see what happens. DJ Bowflex, partner.
Put me in the box. I'll do it. Campbell voice.
Oh, you're trying to get in the box and bang around with Najee Harris, DJ? Okay, I like it. 12K Tay says, organized chaos, hashtag stamp that. And Jarm, partner.
That's Spanish, right? Saludos from the Dominican Republic. I'm a lonely bird in this baseball town. Go Ravens.
And $250 of Dominican money. Appreciate you, Jarm. Austin Kaufman says, not to gloss over all the good stuff, but can we please get the king off of return duties? Good Lord. Good Lord.
That's Baltimore right there.
Yeah. None of you beeswax, Sarah.
Google says Hard Knocks episode 4 comes on December 24th. Great.
Okay.
Before the game. Great.
Christmas Eve indeed. Jose Villanueva, appreciate the super chat. Dreams writes, KVN, first double-digit sack season at age 33, 10.5 to be exact. Hashtag LFG, 9 last year. It was a big day for Kyle. We will get to him before the close of the show. I'm just going to rip through these, Sarah. Alex Panduro writes, Rosengarten did his thing today. The offensive line has been clicking. Couple allowed tackles for loss, but overall, an A-. And Rodrigo says Tom Brady's the GOAT. He was also complimenting Marlon before the eye stuff in the pick 6. Can we talk about how Marlon and Bateman scared us with the boot? They were both, that's right, Rodrigo. They were both at points this year seen in boots, and now, hopefully, they're in pretty good shape. Sarah, a Pro Bowl nod potentially coming up in the next few weeks for the sophomore Zay Flowers. He hit the 1,000-yard receiving mark today and did so in electric fashion. He is an unrelenting Energizer bunny, is he not?
He would not go down on that 49-yarder. He was like wiggling his way out of that. Like the balance that he has was incredible. Like the defensive back was holding on for his life on Zay's 1 foot. And he slowed him down enough, but Zay wiggles out of it and then finally gets tackled. I mean, the energy that Zay brings day in and day out, whether it's for the Steelers, with the division on the line or a practice in the dog days of training camp summer where the heat is blazing. That man always has a smile. That man is always running. That man always brings the energy. And I'm so happy that he got the 1,000 yards. Lamar Jackson was asked about him doing that, and it doesn't look like it made it to our slides. Nope. Or maybe it's somewhere else. But anyway, Lamar said it's like it feels good as a quarterback to have a receiver that's 1,000 yards. He said, Zay is my boy. Zay is my brother for life. Then he said, I just want to say, though, I think we got that in Rashad Bateman, too. He said Bateman just needs more opportunity, needs more passes thrown his way, and he thinks that Bateman can get there. What's Bateman up to, by the way?
Bateman on the season.
He's got to be over 800 now, yeah?
Well, let's do a quick little calculation. He came in at just over 600. Let me get the exact number here. Bate came in at 654 and finished with how much tonight? Let's see. Bateman was...
So he's over 7 then.
Oh, he was just... Let's see. He had just 1 for 14 tonight. So 654 plus 14, 668, 8 touchdowns though. And that's the big number right there. 8 touchdowns compared to what? 3 or 4 the previous 3 seasons combined.
Yeah.
Pretty notable. Again, it kind of feels as if it was on him, that pick. Like, I don't know why he stopped looking for that soft spot, but it's one of those things that obviously Lamar's not going to call him out, but it sure seemed like it was kind of peculiar as to why he stopped that route. But here's the quote.
Well, my guess is because I think maybe he read zone and wanted to get the soft spot in the zone. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes. Yeah. So it's hard to say. I mean, whatever. It's on both of them. It's a miscommunication. And Lamar was hard enough on himself that it seemed like he felt like it was his fault.
Just the fact that he was out there, given Nelson Aguilar going down, given all the noise around Deontay Johnson, and given that he was seen in a boot.
It is crazy, Bobby. Like 3 days ago, we're like, is Bateman done? Like for the rest of the season, and with only 3 games left, when you hear that, like suddenly, because he's practicing, then suddenly he's limited, then suddenly he's out, then suddenly he's in a walking boot, and then they have to cut Deontay in order to bring a practice squad player up for more depth there. Like it just was like, this does not seem good. But I know this year they've been using those walking boots much more as a precautionary measure, where in the past I always felt like a boot was like, okay, they're done, but it seems like they're doing it more to just prevent things these days. So I'm not going to be biting on those as much anymore.
Yeah, today's wide receivers were Zay, Rashad, Tylen, and Anthony Miller. A couple of the running backs got involved in the pass catching duties along with the tight end. Zay goes 5 for 100. Andrews goes 4 for 37 with a touchdown. Adds to his franchise all-time lead. Isaiah got in the mix with an early touchdown, finished with 3 for 29. Missed a key block there at one point on a Lamar run, but obviously was a factor today as you needed both tight ends to be, given the lack of wide receivers. The King went 2 for 27, part of his just ball-wrecking kind of day that he had, soul-crushing kind of day. And then Bateman goes 1 for 14. So, in total, just 207 yards passing through the air. But on a day that you were just gashing Pittsburgh and Derrick was picking up chunk after chunk after chunk, it doesn't magnify a very average day through the air.
No, not at all. And Bobby, I got distracted there for a second because I finally found a video with Calais Campbell saying, "Yes, sir. Can I play it?"
I'm like, oh yeah, well, I wonder what she's got. It's yes, play it.
Let's see. I haven't listened to it yet. I hope this is right. Oh, let's turn the sound up. Okay, here we go.
Yes, sir.
That was good.
That was about how I remembered it.
Yes, sir. Okay, I think I got it for the next time I need to. Next time it's a super chat. I'm ready. Yeah,
perfect. Well, plan accordingly, super chat donors. Only 5 running backs in NFL history, Sarah, have more 150-yard games than the King. 24 carries, 162 yards on the day. I'm sure, I don't even want to know what those yards are in terms of yards after contact and the amount of forced missed tackles.
Yeah.
But he was clearly, Tom Brady said post-game, Sarah, that the soon-to-be 31-year-old, he turns 31 in early January, looks like he can play in this league for 5 more years.
Tom Brady was in love with this duo. Bobby, they kept referencing the Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry duo over and over and over again, almost to the point that it was like Chris Collinsworth talking about Patrick Mahomes kind of level, because they were so in love with this duo. He talked about how this is his quote. It's unbelievable that 1-2 punch between those guys. Is Lamar going to pull it or is he going to give it? He's talking about in the zone read. He said he gave it to Derrick a lot tonight because Pittsburgh said, I believe it's not going to be Lamar that's carrying it all day. But Derrick breaks off for 160. This dude doesn't look like he's slowing down. He looks like, to your point, then he says he looks like he's got another 5 years in him. And Bobby,
look
I'm
who's
so
on the
glad.
screen.
I know. I can't believe you found this picture. It just is the cherry on top. There is the stiff arm that our super chats and you and me have been wanting. It's what we've been demanding. It's been what we've been requiring. And we finally got it. The Derrick Henry, King Henry stiff arm to Patrick Queen. It's everything. It's everything. You know what? Yeah, it's as delicious as I imagined it to be. It's beautiful.
PQ caught a few of those, maybe not specifically stiff arms, but Derrick gave this defense in the middle part of Pittsburgh's defense a tough afternoon. I mean, this was a game. Remember thinking that while the Ravens kind of coughed up the Week 11 game in a lot of ways, just self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound, you kind of left thinking they were outmanned, outclassed in the trenches. That was not the case. We got a super chat earlier on about a couple plays, a couple breakdowns. Like, remember Ronnie got beat pretty badly there early by Alex Highsmith. TJ Watt clearly looked like, to me, a player that was about 60 to 70%. But with that said, TJ Watt at that percentage is still like above average, I think, when you look around the league. And so given that, I think Roger Rosengarten continues to have a really encouraging first year. And he continues to stack games. He holds his own. He's physical. He's just a mauler in there. And I think when you look at the penalties and just 2 for 10, as we mentioned earlier on, that has everything to do with home, right? Being at home. Communication, it's so much easier to streamline communication at home when you're in your environment rather than a hostile one in Pittsburgh. And I think that was evident from that opening whistle. They just played disciplined football. They did not get outmanned in the trenches. They dominated in the ground game. They were getting push all day long. And the Ravens were able to just kind of, everything came to fruition out of that.
I was definitely nervous about the defensive line and offensive line when Lamar got that first forced fumble when Ronnie Stanley let Hightower get around him. But they figured it out. And Bobby, this is why it's crazy to me that we're just getting to Derrick Henry like 50 minutes into the show. Yeah. Because I honestly think outside of the defense stepping up, I think that Derrick Henry's game was like the biggest difference. This is outside the turnovers, right? The biggest difference between the last Ravens-Steelers matchup and this one was the play of Derrick Henry. Remember, Derrick Henry had that fumble early on, and it just kind of like put the Ravens back. And, it was a gut punch that the Ravens never really recovered from because the turnovers were the issue. And it was like, of all people, King Henry committed it. And so meanwhile, Steelers did to Lamar what they always do, which is like, we're not going to let you and Mark Andrews win the game. And so the Ravens, ever since the Eagles lost, they have re-implemented more designed quarterback runs or quarterback reads. And this is what Tom Brady kept emphasizing. He's like, with this zone read, like they don't know what to do because they just kept their old game plan because it worked last time with King Henry in there. And this time, Derrick was like, no, I'm not going to be a liability again. This time, I'm going to do what the Ravens brought me in to do, which is to make sure that not all the pressure is on Lamar Jackson. And again, besides that miscommunication with Rashad Bateman, I tweeted this earlier in the game. I thought Lamar was on the money. His passes, Bobby, were gorgeous. Those spirals, some of the sideline throws, one to Likely, the one to Zay, the back corner throw to Bateman, like he was just so on the money, which is why I'm just as sad as he is mad that he had that interception, because it kind of like puts a cloud over how well Lamar threw the ball. And so it was just like the Ravens finally were like, Lamar, you've had our back this whole time. You've carried us so often, and Lamar still played well tonight. But it was like Derrick was like, let me carry some of the load tonight. I got it this time. Lamar played well, but Derrick Henry set the tone from the beginning until the end, and he was practically unstoppable because they were so worried about Lamar. And next time they meet up, they're now going to have to rethink this. And fine, go ahead and stop Derrick Henry, and then Lamar can go and take those reads himself and gash you outside when he keeps the ball. Like, I just thought the duo that we saw tonight is exactly what we envisioned when the Ravens signed Derrick Henry back in March.
Pick your poison. Over 4,400 of you joining us concurrently right now on this Saturday evening. Thanks for being with us. Tonight's episode is brought to you by our friends at GEHA. That's Government Employees Health Association, the exclusive post-game show title sponsor here inside the vault. We've got more super chats that have come in. Brandon Humble writes, Steelers fans are probably going to blame this loss on not having Pickens. I'm sure they're coming up with a good excuse as we speak.
It had an impact, and so did Deshaun Elliott not being there. I mean, it had an impact, but nobody mentioned that when we were talking about the Ravens losing 8 of the last 9. Nobody mentioned that Lamar wasn't in, half of those games. Nobody mentions that. So it is what it is, but it did have an impact. Sherry says, do you
Joey
think
Porter going down was a big deal? Joey Porter going down.
Yeah,
I know he came back in. He tried to get back, and then he was ruled out not long after. I thought that was a big deal. Larry Ogunjobi couldn't go. That was a big deal for their interior defensive line, stopping the run and whatnot. So they were down. But to your point, they're almost at this time of the year, that's almost always the case for every single team.
Sherry asked, do you still think we can beat? And she wrote Steelers, but in the chat, she says that she meant to say Chiefs. Do you think we can still beat the Chiefs? Sure. I think that's all possible. I mean, they got this monkey off their back tonight. They'll have more to come, but I'm not going to sit here and say that they can't do it. That's for sure. But I think that's a bigger uphill climb than the one tonight was.
Chris Dixon says, love you, Sarah and Bobby. Been here since day one. First
super chat.
Oh, for super chat. Appreciate you, Chris. I'm looking to see where Nick Wright and the rest move the goalpost this week on Lamar. Appreciate
It'll be the interception. Here's what's going to be crazy is Josh Allen, when he lost the game, his MVP odds went up. Lamar had only his 4th interception, but I bet that's what they focus on.
How about this?
How about Zach Orr?
I thought some great feel blitz calls today. Just great. He showed great feel. And it seems to be always Kyle Hamilton when he shows said feel, right? Like, I'm going to send Kyle and he's just going to put Russell Wilson under duress. But just nice, timely anticipation from Zach. This moment that was captured by the Fox Sports camera, Sarah, was after Justin and Kyle had shared a sack. So they each walked away with a half sack on Russell Wilson. And Zach was seen on the sideline, like literally as if he was involved in the play. And Sarah, I was doing my pregame work, and NFL Network aired an awesome special. They did a Zach Orr feature and spoke with members of his family, spoke with him. It was an awesome piece. And I wonder if there's like a segment that's been put up on YouTube or something where we can go find it, because it was really well done. And I think it's a great look inside Zach of what makes him tick and just how much he's had to endure personally since his career was cut short, and channeling all of that heartbreak into motivation to do the next thing, which became coaching and rising the ranks quickly as one of the youngest defensive coordinators now. And there was a lot of noise just a month ago, maybe just over a month ago, and things have settled. And obviously the personnel adjustments have been a big reason as to why, but this moment I think is indicative. And it's the epitome of the type of effect that he has on this culture, in that locker room, and how relatable he is. He's young and relatable. KVN is literally probably older than him. Isn't Zach like 32 or 33? Kyle's 33. Like, it's an awesome moment that we can only share the screenshot of, but I know you enjoyed this as well.
Yeah, Zach Orr's 32. How old is Kyle Van Noy?
33.
Yeah. And I'm sure Zach wishes that he could still be out there, right?
Yeah.
Like this moment when I watched him, I know Zach gets hype all the time. He's just that kind of dude. But there's nobody who feels better about this defensive turnaround than Zach Orr. When he's the first-year coordinator and everybody is like, wait, the Ravens defense isn't playing up to standard. It must be Zach Orr. Like, forget that, like, he's moved up the chains lightning quick, took over a defense that lost its interception leader from last year, that lost its top sack leader from last year, that lost its starting inside linebacker from last year, lost all of that. And Marcus Williams comes back in. There's miscommunications everywhere. And he brings in DPs to give him a helping hand, showing incredible humility. And this is where humility gets you. People equate humility with weakness, which is so much further from the truth. Humility is nothing but strength. Ego and pride is nothing but you letting your emotions get the best of you. That you can't stand what other people are saying or what they're thinking or what they're doing. Like you just let that bitterness or anger or ego or pride take over. It is so much harder to show humility and say, you know what? I could use some help rather than pretending that you got this all when we can all see it's all falling apart. And here he comes just little by little with personnel changes, communication changes, like just doesn't stop working. So when I saw him getting so hype, jumping up and down, yelling like it was just like you could almost feel all the previous 14 weeks of this defense and all the bad things that have happened is just like being let out as he yells in celebration for his team that's getting after Russell Wilson, that's sacking him, that's bottling up the running game, that's creating turnovers, that is stopping fourth downs. Like there is nobody that has to feel better tonight than Zach Orr.
I think KVN probably is up there for different reasons. Maybe just a certain satisfaction of getting to where he hadn't yet been in what's been a pretty decorated career. This is a 2-time Super Bowl champion during his time with Tom Brady and the Patriots. And for the first time, he hits the double-digit sack category, as we've already mentioned. Sarah, he's tallied 19 and a half in 28 games as a Raven. This was somebody who came in right before the London trip, you might remember, to go play Tennessee last year. And he and Jadeveon each had these rejuvenation seasons respectively and gave the Ravens such a presence, such a veteran presence. And of course, Jadeveon went and took the bag in Carolina. KVN stayed. They extended him for multiple years. I believe he'll be here next year. I got to go look at that. I believe it was a 2-year deal. And man, well earned for number 53. He has a certain type of, to me, he's the classic glue guy. Every kind of, if you're a championship caliber team, you need guys like him walking around your locker room. And he just swarms to the football. He still feels like he's got something to prove at 33. I listened to his podcast weekly with Gerald McCoy. They have been highly anticipating this double-digit category. I cannot wait to see what they have to say next week. But big congratulations are in the air for Kyle Van Noy.
Tom Brady was saying that Derrick Henry looks like he could play for another 5 years. I mean, Kyle Van Noy's like right there, you know?
He just wanted everybody to know, by the way.
Yeah. In case you lost track, that would be a 5 and a 5. That's 10.
How great is he, man? I mean, is he not having fun out there? I mean, the Fox Sports cameraman had the easiest job of the night. Just follow Kyle around. You get enough content to go around for the night. And how about Big MP getting involved? Big Michael Pierce. Remember, he was not available the first time around in week 11. Yeah. He was on IR. Well, he came back with vengeance. You know, he was a big boy run stuffer specialist tonight, and he got a big sack earlier on I think it was like a 10-yard loss or something like that. So 58 was impactful there in the middle.
Well, how about this? Like, there's the sack, and he's got his arms up. He looks like the Michelin Man right there, man. That's a big dude.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is a big dude. And how he runs after quarterbacks when they get free and he's running, I'm like, I don't know how he does that. He's got decent speed for how big he is with that. I mean, carrying that belly around. He and Urban are by far the funnest to listen to on the bench when the offense is going. Like, they're just like a little comedy duo over there. And so, unfortunately, they didn't take advantage of that sack. I think the Steelers ended up scoring on that drive.
They did, yeah.
But that doesn't erase, what he did, and him being back, along with Travis Jones looking healthy and Matabike. It's a pretty nice lineup there in the middle.
Tom Brady talked about his former teammate that we just mentioned a minute ago, Kyle Van Noy, and he said, quote, he broke his eye socket earlier this season. This is the quote that we referenced earlier on, and said he basically played with a broken face. And I see other guys in the league walking out on their teammates because they don't want to play. It's why he's a champion. Let him know, Tom. Let him know. More super.
And you do need those championship minds in these units. Like, it's massive to keep people focused and not freak out when things go bad, not to get a big head when things are going well. Like, and Bobby, you just get a sense from Kyle Van Noy that he knows the end is near. And so he is just soaking up every absolute moment that he can and is playing like it's house money. That's all he's doing right now.
Yep, for sure. D. Isaiah T. Billings Clyde says, nobody mentioning that we had a ridiculously late bye week this season, impacting games down the stretch against Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Guys, we're gassed. We actually did mention that a little bit earlier on, but I think everybody likes the way that it's setting up for where the team currently stands. Olu, Sarah.
We are a better team. When was the last time a win was this wide of a margin? If we can play clean for 4 quarters, it's a crazy blowout. Yes, sir.
I had a chance.
Quite have the base.
You took a breath. You took a breath, and I had a chance to turn my stuff down, and I didn't. So you gave me the chance, and I whiffed. That's what I did. I whiffed, and as a result, I will have a headache the rest of the night. Kidding. Oscar writes, Pickens a bigger diva and less talented version of AB. He's just taking shots at Pittsburgh right now. Probably just absolutely loving life tonight, enjoying this, basking in this win. RVA Raven fan, Sarah?
I can't look at the chat. I got to look at the super chat. I think we've been saying the king for this stretch. We've had a lot of games where he's been almost a ghost, but we're in the end game now. It's time for Henry to put his crown back on. Go Ravens. You don't need to save him anymore. Save him for what? Like, this game is what you need King Henry for, right? Including on Christmas Day. So maybe for, a lot of the year, the Ravens, John Harbaugh is like, we didn't bring him in to have him run 30 times a game. Well, what did he get tonight? Was it 26 attempts? Pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. There's no saving him anymore. There's no saving anybody. It's all hands on deck, and it's time. It's what they said since they got out of the bye. 8-week season, because they see 4 in the regular season, 4 in the postseason. Now they've got 2 down since they came back. So now it's a 6-week season. You don't need to save anybody for anything. It's pedal to the metal.
Yeah, he finished with 162 on 24 carries tonight.
24.
Did the king.
A couple of receptions, I believe.
And a couple.
Yeah.
Alicia writes, this is the first time I could send you all a super chat. More to come. Go Ravens. We appreciate you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Brian throws us a $1.99. Thanks, Brian. And Ryan White, Sarah.
This is in all caps, but I'm not going to yell it. What a satisfying game, battled through adversity and stuck to their guns. This means a lot moving forward for our confidence going into the playoffs. I agree. Not only does it mean a lot for the Ravens' confidence, but remember, we just had Brooke Pryor on, and we talked about her question to Mike Tomlin after their Eagles loss, and she said, what do you do to make sure this doesn't snowball? And Mike Tomlin goes, well, it's a loss. Let's not get dramatic. And it got laughs in the moment. I certainly laughed. I thought it was a great response. But it snowballed. It snowballed. And now Brooke Pryor's question is looking pretty relevant because it could snowball against the defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, on Christmas Day. So while the Ravens' confidence is amping up, the Steelers' confidence is certainly taking a hit, and they're grown men and they're professionals and they're going to do everything to overcome it. I'm not saying they can't, but one is moving up and one is trending in the opposite direction.
I have some special teams notes, and Brian Imhoff just hit us with another one. Do you think we cut Williams next year? Not sure. He's certainly not going to be in Baltimore.
Yes, I think he'll be cut.
Yeah. His time here is all but over, unfortunately, for Marcus. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. We probably have some lesser defensive notes to finish things up, but I would love to kind of get into what's more notable than those, Sarah, if you don't mind, for a minute or two, which is special teams. That cool?
Yep.
I was out at the pregame show, as you know, and right outside the stadium. The wind chill, it was not a cold day in Baltimore. The wind chill made it cold. The wind made it cold. So temperature-wise, it honestly, because of the sun at points throughout the day, it was not cold. Now, once night fell and the wind started howling, which it was throughout the majority of the afternoon into the early evening, that was notable. And for Justin Tucker, Sarah, who had not attempted a field goal try in a regular season game since December 1st, which was the Eagles game, for him to drill it from 51 out and make all of his extra points, that to me is notable. And it may not be a big takeaway on tonight because of the margin of victory. But moving forward, that was really encouraging. And I liked what I saw from Justin.
I said multiple times this week, and I texted it to you again this morning, that I didn't want this to be a Justin Tucker game. Like, we knew it was going to be cold. You texted me from the pregame show talking about how frigid it was, talking about how hard it was going to be to kick. And I was like, and I said earlier, we can't make this a field goal game. It can't be the field goal game because it plays into their strategy. And I said, like, if the Ravens lose, it'll be like by 4 points. But if they win, it'll be by double digits. I said 10, right? I thought it would be by 10. Ended up being more than 10. Yeah. And so the whole point was, is if you don't turn the ball over and you don't put it in Justin Tucker's foot, rather than you score touchdowns instead of field goals, then this game is going to be out of reach and you won't have to rely upon him. But the Ravens got the best of both worlds because they won by double digits. They were scoring plenty of touchdowns, but they also gave him 2 field goal attempts, one of which was 51 yards, and he drilled it. He drilled it. And so they were able to not put all the pressure on him, which allowed them to breathe. And yet he also got opportunities, and he also on kickoffs rotated with Stout.
Yes.
And I think Stout was kicking him into the wind because he's younger and has the bigger leg. And then Tucker would kick it with the wind. So it was just great that they got the best of both worlds on that one.
And Harbs was asked about that post game, and he did compliment Jordan's leg. Like, that's a big leg. Now, unfortunately, that leg in the first half didn't exactly perform on that 14-yard shank. He's going to want that one back. I wonder what went into that mechanically for Jordan. But Jordan certainly made up for it because Nick Moore's snap on that 51-yard field goal was significantly wide. It was almost errantly wide. And Jordan, as if he was like a first baseman picking a baseball out of the dirt or a catcher, right? Fielding like Adley Rutschman with a wild pitch and trying to keep it in the zone. I mean, what Jordan did to corral that football and place it perfectly, calmly, that was an impressive play. I mean, that's an impressive pair of hands.
He definitely made up for it. And then on the other side, Boswell shanked his own kickoff.
Yes,
and so that kind of spotted the Ravens their third touchdown. Did you have any more special teams?
I did, yeah, just a few of them. You know, early on, field position-wise, Tylan Wallace was playing gunner. What an all-out effort play to down that football like the 2 or 3, wherever it was, and back Pittsburgh up. Tylan's just a glue guy. Again, it didn't work out for him, unfortunately, from a punt return specialist standpoint. Sarah, maybe he'll get another opportunity because Desmond King had some struggles tonight. He just couldn't field the ball cleanly. Yeah. And so that was an issue. But I thought Tylan's all-out effort play early on, able to down that at the 3 after the Ravens drive stalled at the 42, was pretty impressive. Outside of that, and I just mentioned,
makes big plays when he has an opportunity. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Outside of that, again, we mentioned Desmond King.
I just want to say on Desmond King, like, when he's running and returning, he's really good. Like, it feels like it's been a couple games where he's gotten a lot of yardage.
Yeah.
And so I was like, why haven't they been using him? And then tonight it's like, oh, is this why? Is this why? Is it ball security? Because that's like I appreciate like a 20, 30 yard return, maybe 35 or 40. But if you can't secure the ball on the other ones, then it erases those, and I can live with the 10-yard returns, but the ball being secure.
Yeah, to me, moving forward, it might be an open tryout for, if Keaton's active, you'd like to think he'd be involved in that. And then if he's not, maybe Rasheen Ali gets some opportunities there because, man, between Desmond not being able to hang on onto it, and then Tylen just having a hard time with corralling it as well. That feels like it's a little unsettled feeling special teams wise, basically.
Yeah.
So those are my notes on special teams.
All right, I just want to do a quick breakdown of Lamar's 3 touchdown catches, and we'll be quick. But we talked about Mark Andrews getting the first one, and we've talked about how the Steelers have been like, we're not letting Mark win this game for us. But suddenly, again, because other teammates stepped up, Zay Flowers had 5 receptions for 100 yards, including that 49-yarder. He has become big enough. Now, he was in motion on this play, and there was a bit of a miscommunication, but all the Steelers look at them, they all decide to focus on Zay. And that's what opened up Mark. Usually it's been the other way around, where it's like, if you're going to have a miscommunication, accidentally put 3 guys on Mark because make somebody else beat you. And the Ravens haven't had the receivers to beat you if they take Mark. And so suddenly they were so worried about Zay that there it is. Mark Andrews gets his first touchdown catch against the Steelers in his 7-year career. This one to Isaiah Likely that was easy as pie. That one was all because Derrick Henry had 6 runs in a row, and he's gashing him. It was like 13 yards, 11 yards, 9 yards, and then 3 yards for the first 10. I think he got a -1. But then they had Lamar and Henry line up. Henry was lined up in sidecar, and Lamar did the fake toss to him. And so all the Steelers, look at those Steelers up there, worried about Lamar and Derrick because they don't know which one of those 2 they should cover. Oh, turns out neither, because Isaiah Likely's wide open. So again, when you get the run game going and you get that duo going, it massively opens up the pass game. And then look at Isaiah. Look at his little celebration, like a little, I don't know what he's doing there. If his arm was more up in the air, I'd think it was like a 3-point follow through, but his arm's a little bit down. So, but he seems to be pretty happy there. And then, we already talked about Zay. I mean, it was just what happened on this, although I don't have a screen grab, is the Steelers safety was worried about Likely on that one. So he played up on Likely in the flats, which left Bateman one-on-one. And sorry, but put some respect on Bateman's name because that man one-on-one is going to beat you. And that's why he leads doesn't he lead the league in separation?
Yeah. And Bateman is the first, Zay's the 7th.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, put him one-on-one and look at him toe tap on that very foot that he had in a boot a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Great to see him back. It's just so big to have him.
For sure. Let's see. We had a couple other notes as well, just screenshot wise.
There was one on Owe. Where's that one at?
Yeah, because Adafe's, often tagged for just being so close, right? And
Close.
Cam wrote here, Cam Jones 99, quote, describe Odafe Owe with a picture, and it's him just with his outstretched arms, just barely missing Russell Wilson. This is kind of what I referenced earlier on. I thought at times that, Russ, 36-year-old Russ looked like 26-year-old Russ as a scrambler, and so they just couldn't get him down earlier on in this game. But make no mistake, Odafe is always going to bring the impact from a pressure standpoint. He does have a career high in sacks already this year, so you got to tip your cap on that. And certainly, I think when you think about the position, edge, and then you look at what they paid him and picked, by exercising his 5th-year option, he
That's
is
next year. That's next year. They're not paying that yet.
Right, but they locked it in though.
Yeah.
So just knowing that, so he's still on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
So.
But he's a first rounder. Yeah.
But it's frustrating. I know it's frustrating to see him not bring it down. But I thought tonight, Justin Madubuike, the interior push against something that his impact doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. I thought that he and Mike Pierce were wreaking havoc there. In terms of total tackles, when you look around, Roquan actually led the way. He had 10, 5 of which were solo. Kyle Hamilton, second on the team, 8, 5 of which were solo and a pass deflection. Nnamdi had 7, 4 of which were solo, a half sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hit. So I beg your pardon. It actually did show up in the stat sheet tonight for number 92. KVN 5, 2 of which were solo, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 quarterback hits. Adafe's, let's see, what is Adafe's final stat line? Adafe didn't even pop up on here. That's interesting.
No
he didn't get a pressure for that, huh? Because it was a scramble, I guess. Ajabo, I thought was
it was Matabike that pressured him. So Matabike broke through the offensive line and then started pushing. He was the one who got the pressure. So he started pushing Russ out of the pocket. Russ actually juked kind of both of them. They both started to go towards where he was going at first, kind of juked him and went another way. Now with Matabike, it was like, okay, I get why he was juked. He was right there and trying to get him, but always got to be like more of like a contain. Yeah. But he fell for it too. And then he just couldn't get his feet under him. It felt like, while watching it, Bobby, it felt like one of those bad dreams. Yeah. I have bad dreams were like in scary movies, people just keep falling down. For me, in my dream, I can't get my feet to hit the ground. Like I go to push off and I go up in the air and like my feet are going in the air and I can't move forward. That's more mine. But that's what it felt like. It just seemed like one of those like nightmare movies where Freddy Krueger is running after you and you've got like a good 50-yard lead and you just keep tripping for no reason. Like that's the way it felt. It just felt like a bad dream watching him not be able to get his feet underneath him.
And Russ is slippery. We should give him a little bit of credit. Yeah. I mean, there were a couple drives that he was he was rolling. But, when you look at him as a mobile quarterback at 36, it's like, come on, guys. Adafe's in his prime right now. Find a way to bring him down. I know that's easier said than done. But some more super chats have come in here. Let's see. Where did we leave off? James Lee Wiley writes, I like Zach, but I'm sure Dean Pease has been a big help. No question. Quion Sarah, a.k.a. Dreams.
Was great seeing Ojabo getting some pressures.
Yep. Travis Bullock says, receive my homage t-shirt. I love the show. Love you guys. Go Ravens. Huge win. Encouraging and like what I saw from the aforementioned David Ojabo. Travis, glad you received your t-shirt. Hopefully, who got it last week? Was it Gerald? Gerald Jackson? Yep. Yeah, hopefully he'll get his pretty soon here, right around Christmas. And Olu.
It's time to let Tucker be normal, not rely so much on him. And who can we get to not muff these punts? Tylen muffed them earlier this season, huh?
Yes, he did. Literally a couple weeks ago, right before the bye. I think it was the Philadelphia game.
Why he lost it to Desmond.
Yep. Yeah. Sarah, we're living in a fun era right now of Orioles and Ravens, just Baltimore sports in general. Matt Wyrick, I believe he writes for The Sun, tweeted out that both teams have both reached the playoffs each of the past 2 years. That's the first time Baltimore's baseball and football teams have clinched back-to-back postseason berths at the same time since, get this, 1970, 1971. That was the Orioles, of course, and the then Baltimore Colts. So it's been a minute, but a fun time.
It'd be more fun if they both went all the way, but yes, it's nice to have 2 successful franchises.
As for the other game on this Saturday NFL slate, of course, after all kinds of talk this week about whether or not he should play with the ankle, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs improved to what? 14-1 now. So they're cruising on their way to this top overall seed. I believe mathematically, Buffalo is still in it with a couple weeks to go. But 27-19 was the final. Sarah, I guess most notably here, yes, Marquise Brown made his debut. He finished with 5 receptions for 45 yards on 8 targets. But just in terms, good debut for him. Mm-hmm. Xavier Worthy had a big game. Marquise, DeAndre, they got target. On a day that Travis Kelce only goes 5 for 30, you're getting contributions all over the place. And Patrick was just facilitating the football. Juju Smith-Schuster had 1 target. So that shows you just how much production they were getting elsewhere. But I think
that's why it's crazy that was it Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, I can't remember, was reporting that Deontay Johnson is likely to be picked up off waivers, and he mentioned the Chargers and the Chiefs. And I'm like, do the Chiefs even have room for him now? Literally. With Hollywood and Rice coming back, you got Hopkins and Worthy. If he was ticked off here, I don't know. Now for the Chargers, I could see him getting some playing time. But you think that Jim would have called John and been like, you recommend him?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or is he just feeling like they need a target and it's like they'll just try to figure it out?
Best of luck. Whoever goes with him, best of luck. It's fool me once, shame on me. What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What happens for 3 times? Not sure.
I don't know, but my favorite was when Jonas Schaefer quote retweeted the news that one of those 2 teams could pick him up off of waivers. Do you watch why is the name slipping my mind?
The answer to this is definitely going to be a no, just so you know.
Oh.
I just don't
Arrested Development.
No.
Yeah, no, you only watch sports shows.
I ripped through the Aaron Rodgers doc as I texted you.
Yeah. Yes, I got through half of the first episode. So
were you with me or were you?
No, I'm gonna watch it.
Oh no. Like, were you with me though off the start, or you're not into it enough to really know whether you like it?
Oh, I like it. Give me any sports documentary, I'm gonna like it, especially if it's football.
But you said you're halfway through the first episode.
Right, because I started it late and I went to bed.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. It wasn't like captivating, but I'm very interested and I will definitely watch it this week. I'll probably get through all the episodes. Anyway, Arrested Development. I like a good comedy. Anyway, Jonas Schaefer quote retweeted the news that somebody else is going to pick him up. And then he used this meme from Arrested Development, which may not mean much to you, but it's got a husband and a wife talking together. And he says to her, well, did it work for those people? And she replies, no, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but, and then they both look at each other, but it might work for us.
Yup. That is literally, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But can I just say, I'm not rooting against Deontay. I think it's messed up that he quit on his team in the middle of the game. I think that's messed up. I don't want a teammate like that. And I wouldn't want to be a coach for somebody that I can't rely on to go into the game when I need him or her. And so for me, I don't like that. At the same time, I'm not rooting against him. And so if he gets a chance with the Chargers and whatever, then good for him. Like, this is once in a lifetime. I'm sure he's going to want to get a big contract, which I think is going to be tough at this point, but I'm not rooting against him to make, Baltimore feel better about what they did. But at the same time, while I'm not rooting for it, I'm very doubtful that he'll be able to turn it around and get himself a big contract in these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'd say I don't have any rooting interests one way or the other. I just think I have a sour taste in my mouth about the way in which that reverberated through the locker room. The message that sent, and knowing his track record from the past.
Yeah.
And knowing the way San Francisco handled its situation with Devondre Campbell, and then, of course, Baltimore does it the exact opposite way. Who knows what actually the sentiment was internally. Point is, it's a cup of coffee in Baltimore. Probably won't be talked about for a very long time after you get through this, unless he goes to a team that they end up playing in the postseason, and that would really become theater.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that's all to say that with the here and now and the quick turnaround coming up on Christmas Day, now starting to get, front center stage, Tank Dell, who was having a fantastic game for the Texans, Sarah, really terrible. This was horrible. He suffered a dislocated kneecap, and Ian Rappaport says doctors are working to determine the damage. Surgery is possible, but it's not happened yet. It is significant, and it's not clear just how significant, but clearly enough to have the fire department EMS type truck come onto the field. This was a scary moment. His teammates, his opponents were all shaken up. Mm-hmm. You hate to see it. He was having a heck of a game for them. He finished as their top receiver. He had 6 receptions for 98 yards. And on that touchdown is when this took place. He was targeted 7 times. He's a big play threat for them. They have others on this team, but Tank being down, obviously, first and foremost, you hope that he's okay. But for Baltimore, it's a big deal that he's not going to be out there on Wednesday, obviously.
That game was very close. In fact, Houston had a lead for a bit of the first half. But it's after Tank went down, the Texans just didn't have enough offense. And by the way, he held on to that ball for the touchdown when he got It was under friendly fire. His own teammate hit into him, and it was nasty. It was bad, but he held onto the ball and got the touchdown, and then he missed the extra point. And so it completely changed their offense. Now, if they're going to have 4 days to try to figure out what to do. The tweet that I just referenced, which was either from Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport saying that he's going to get claimed, that was before this game and this injury. So Texans could maybe want to try to pick him up too, because not only have they lost Tank Dell, but they lost Stephon Diggs earlier. So they could probably use some help. But even if they do pick him up, they're not going to be able to incorporate him for this Christmas Day game on Wednesday. Like, it's just not. I mean, if they claim him, it'll be Monday, and then they're not going to be able to incorporate him by Wednesday. I don't think.
Games that are coming up tomorrow. Again, these are the two today. Chiefs beat the Texans 27-19. Ravens thumped the Steelers. Chargers beat the Broncos on Thursday night, as we covered. Browns and Bengals will be tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Cincy still has a glimmer of hope. Let's see. Tennessee and Indianapolis. That's important for the Colts, who are in the hunt. Let's see. Just talking AFC games that are notable. Bills and Patriots, just for Josh Allen's MVP candidacy. That'll be 4:25. And then Miami's currently in the hunt as well at 6 and 8. They play the 49ers at their place in Dolphins country. And that is kind of the notable slate coming up tomorrow. So it feels weird. It's a Saturday right now. We're live, but now we actually have Sunday to chill, I guess. But you and I are going to be locked in because it's quick turnaround. I'm not necessarily saying tomorrow, but I might be. And you're probably going to be locked in doing family related and church related things. But hey,
we got a dinner here tomorrow at 5. I'm excited for it. Yeah,
nice.
Church in the morning. Get a little maybe nap in, and then we'll have some dinner guests. But I have an announcement to make, Bobby.
Oh yes.
Okay, here's the announcement.
The t-shirt.
Guests. Oh, I have 2 things. I have 2 things to say. Okay. I got 2 things in the mail today.
Okay.
First thing I got in the mail came from Era Apparel. So I have my nighttime Lamar Jackson cologne. We will give a review Monday.
Okay.
Right? Monday show.
Great.
Okay. So that's the update there. Now, I got this t-shirt today in the mail, and I have no clue who sent it. But it's this t-shirt that has a bunch of various Ravens logos, right? Including
Oops. I meant to do this. Why can't I do it? Okay.
Including this one down here in the corner. Who could that be? Oh, the Vault. So it came from Canva, and we use Canva for thumbnails making and all of that. I don't know who sent this to me, but I want to know. Who got all these Ravens logos, including the Vault, on one t-shirt? Because I like it. So I'll do this. I'll wear this t-shirt on Monday, the same day that I do the cologne review. We'll do that towards the end of the show. Of course, we got to get to football first. But does anybody, I don't know why anybody would know. It's not like anybody, I hope nobody has my address.
Well, that's what I was just about
chat.
What are our theories here?
Who sent this to me? Because it was such a great gift. I don't know.
Chat. Who is it? Who's been stalking my co-host?
What's funny is my son brought it into me, and because he's the one who got it out of the mail, and I'm like, "Did you do this?" And he starts laughing. He goes, "Do you really think I'd be thoughtful enough to do that?" It's like you just burned yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's cool.
You were like, "Hey, thanks." I'm like, I didn't give it to you.
Yeah, I was like, because I was like, "There's got to be Bobby." Because it had the Vault in there. But if you were to do it, I would think that you would just do the Vault as the main thing and not do the other ones. But it came from Canva, which we use. And do you even have my address? You may not even have my address.
I do, but it
you do.
Canva is so strange.
Yeah. Well,
that makes
obviously
no
they make
sense
t-shirts.
Oh man. Are we caught up? Let's see. Are we caught up with super chats? We are. We got to get to some patrons. We appreciate you guys for spending your Saturday nights with us. Happy holidays. David Keck and Asmodeus, a.k.a. Richard, who was in the Bobby Baltimore mobile today. You seem like you were curious about that. So Richard is always at the Be More Around Town tailgates. He's from Virginia. Great dude. He's famous for sitting with me when I met Madison. He was on that segment.
Yes.
So he's the best.
He was like your wingman in that.
Yeah, he freaking cracks me up. I love this guy. And long story short, like he realized, oh wow, it's 4:30. It's like I was packing up my stuff. The tailgate was like emptying out, and he and I were just chatting post show. And I finally was just like, "Do you want to ride over?" He's like, "Yeah, I'd love one." So he's got a beer in his hand. Some guy that always Freddie's my guy. Shout out Freddie from the pregame. He brings me all sorts of gifts. He got me cookies, right?
Oh,
so
nice.
now I
Were
can't
they
really
Christmas
eat
cookies?
yes, and I can't really eat the cookies, as you know. So Asmodeus has
I feel like you can't eat anything at this point. I don't even know
pretty much,
what it is, but it sounds like you're on a pretty strict diet.
pretty much.
Continue. Sorry.
I Uber Eats. I never Uber Eats. I Uber Eats prior to this show, Chinese. It's not going very well over here.
Oh, geez.
But Richard's got a tray of cookies in his hand, a beer in his hand. What else? Somebody gave him like a ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
He had multiple shots that were also on another tray of somebody that gave them to me, but obviously I'm not drinking today. He had 2 Jell-O shots that somebody gifted me as well, and I just gave him. Richard literally needed like a 3rd and 4th hand on the way out. And anyway, I just dropped him off right in front of the stadium. It was hilarious.
That is funny.
So long story short, shout out David, shout out Richard. Thank you for the support that you give us through Patreon as being a part of the Vault Patreon community. We appreciate the support. If you guys are interested in doing so this football season, you can visit patreon.com/RavensVault podcast and support us for as little as $1.99. Chris, I know you didn't pop up for the shout out monthly tier, but we did just see you pop on for the general support tier, and we appreciate you.
Nice.
I think that just about does it, right?
I think so. I had a question for you that I thought was good, but it's completely slipped my mind. Hopefully it'll come back to me by Monday.
Women?
No.
Dating?
No. It was
All
something
the
you
Venmos I sent you? That was ridiculous. I hope I don't get flagged by that.
No. I can't remember. It was about something you just said, and I was like, "Ooh, note to self." I was like, "Don't interrupt him. Don't interrupt him." I think that's why I interrupt people, because I like forget what I'm going to say like all the time.
Julian's like, no, it had to be Madison related. No, Julian, I'm not force feeding questions about Madison.
No.
I've already addressed that. You guys are always trying to get info out of me.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm probably gonna do a late night stream. So if anybody would like to join me around 11,
it's Bobby After Dark.
I think so. Yeah.
Curse words and all.
I think it'll be fun. We'll see. We'll see about the jargon. Why is Alexa screaming at me right now? Is somebody in my house again?
That was freaky last time.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't know what was going on with that one, but
yeah.
Live to tell the tale. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend. And Sarah and I will be back, of course, on Monday, 12 noon Eastern. And then it's kind of like get your stuff together because it's a quick turnaround. We got to find a Houston guest. We got to go live, of course, do our usual thing. So lots to get to, but partner, hope you enjoy.
I said this to you earlier. This stinks. Why can't we have these type of wins going into a bye weekend? We had to do Eagles into a bye weekend. They had Harbaugh versus Harbaugh Monday night against the Chargers. Yeah. Lamar puts on a 5-piece, and then we got to quickly turn around to the Eagles, but it's the Eagles we have to like sit on for 2 weeks. Then it's like you beat the Steelers in a huge AFC North showdown, and then 4 days later you got to play again. So you can't like savor. We've been having to savor and sit on the losses, but we haven't been able to savor the wins.
Well, maybe Houston.
Hopefully they get a second one.
Maybe Houston with that 10-day gap in between. It's really like an 11-day gap, right? Because let's see. Yeah. Maybe that could come with something. But then again, it's the holiday season, New Year's Eve. But anywho, this will be fun. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Still 4,500 of you chilling right now.
4,500. Thank you.
Yeah, and it was well north of that, by the way. It was like, I think we got up to like 4,600, 4,700, somewhere around there. So,
well, I hope you guys show up Christmas too. Come back on Christmas.
Yep. And Sarah,
we're going to be live streaming. I don't want to do it for nothing on Christmas Day.
Definitely. We hit viewership records on Christmas night last year. I mean, a lot of that had to do with the way they beat San Francisco, but hopefully you guys will show up regardless this year. And thanks to GEHA, a huge shout out to Government Employees Health Association. If you guys would do us the favor and click on that link that's in the live chat as a pinned comment. It's also on the top of the show notes. That goes such a long way. And not only, obviously, if you're interested in learning about Government Employees Health Association, but it goes a long way for us in terms of securing a great partnership with just a great sponsor of ours that's been with us now for over a year, which is exciting. So thank you to them. Thank you to you, partner. Have an awesome off day tomorrow. Enjoy your time with the family. Tell everybody I said hello.
Appreciate you.
Hopefully all of you and all of your family are getting ready. And if you guys are traveling this weekend, safe travels. We wish you the best. For Sarah Ellison, for our tremendous brand partner, GEHA, and for the Ravens, who emerged victorious for the second consecutive week coming out of the bye, improved to 10-5. Now have their sights set on a quick turnaround and a Wednesday afternoon into the early evening game against the Houston Texans. I'm Bobby Trossett, signing off from Week 16, signing off from this Ravens victory over the Steelers, and we will catch up with you on Monday, if not before. And as always, thanks for joining us and spending some time in post-game format here inside the vault. We'll catch up soon.